In continuation of the Fintech Week 2022 with the theme Navigating the Next Normal, Sustainable Impact in Fintech, E-Government and Emerging Technologies, Day 3 of the conference witnessed interesting conversations around scaling in Fintech, challenges in the sector, government and compliance, as well as product pitches and networking session. Oluwadamilola Daudu, AGM Billings and Payments Soft Alliance, given the first keynote speech, spoke on the emerging payments landscape and opportunities, as well as scaling in the ecosystem. He noted that the data available in fintech, if properly harnessed, can be used to grow the economy.
We all stand to benefit from what fintech brings to us. So I'll be discussing emerging payment landscapes and opportunities. Of course, we've not just scratched the surface of what we can tell again from fintech. This is a recent update from October 2022. Now, if you look at it closely, you see that digital payments and new banking are what is doing quite well within industry today. We don't see anything around alternative financing or digital assets, which is an area or an emerging payment landscape that we need to look at. And how are we able to get there? It is by leveraging the data that I've collected against the identity of the people that are involved and create a kind of system that actually ensures that eventually we're able to build the economy. Now, bring together fintech and all the data that we have, get the regulators involved to totally ensure that nothing goes out of place, get the banks involved to totally ensure that the funds are available to give to those who need them, and finally, identity system to actually identify every individual to be sure that nobody claims to be who they are not. Let us leverage that fintech data to grow the economy. How are we able to do that? Of course, let's all come together as an ecosystem, not just individual solutions having their data in silos. Let us combine that data. Which technology are going to use? Of course, blockchain comes to mind, artificial intelligence comes to mind. Let us harness that data and let us build the economy together.
Day 3 of the event also saw panel discussions with industry experts to address the challenges in the Nigerian fintech ecosystem and sustainable pipeline of the competitive and global talent. It had Olu Akomu, CEO, OPE, Kofo Arolo, MD, Woven Finance, Ajibade Laolu Adewale, Group Head Partnerships, Digital Solutions and Fintech, Wema Bank, Aitwaz Kola Oladejo, Executive Director, FSI, and Deremi Atonda, MD, Remita, as discussants. The session was moderated by Inchedolisa Sama, Associate Manager of Fintech Steers Business.
We know that our economy is highly dependent on dollars, and so it keeps driving that cost up. We have an industry innovation sandbox today, and we see a lot of people come up with genuine ideas on how to drive payments. However, they need to collaborate with incumbents. And in collaborating with incumbents, some incumbents are selective in what they will collaborate with and what they will collaborate on. I think that if we have a system and a structure as an ecosystem, right, to harness these products or to harness these ideas and drive them across the value chain, there will be immense value.
We probably will not solving the problems that should be solved. There are problems around insurance or capital market. When the other gentleman who represented the DG of security was talking, he mentioned the figures in terms of payment that has happened throughout the year, but just a percentage of it came into the capital market. Somebody should look at that and go and solve that problem, and then we see the traction we're looking for.
I'm sure it's not just a lack of acknowledgement that there are other verticals to explore. So what is it actually? What are some of the factors that may be limiting people wanting to innovate in other fintech verticals and just having so many people doing so much in payments alone?
When we look at the revenue that can be derived, which is through the consumers, you alluded to the fact that in Nigeria, the personal expenditure consumption or across Africa is about 1,500. In Latin America, it's about 5,000. And in Northern America, it's about 49,000. So what we see there is disposable income and the revenue that can be derived from Africa. And then you distill it down to Nigeria, there's a challenge there. What that means is that we need to be very, very focused about creating value-based products.
If your product is a vitamin, a nice to have, When you're not solving a really big problem, it's unlikely that you are going to scale. If you are solving a really big problem in terms of a painkiller, that's the foundation of scaling and perhaps even the challenge of long-term profitability.
Too long, everybody keeps looking at the cost of transactions without looking at the cost of making transactions happen. So while the cost in the operating environment is going up, everybody keeps saying transactions should be free. Sitting on what environment? So I think we need to speak to that as well, since we're speaking for the industry. So advocacy is a platform that must bind us to speak to common issues, to look to extending opportunities. You can't grab it all. And that's one of the things we're beginning to do. Ecosystem play is going to continue to be critical. Ecosystem play, you see an opportunity, you want to sit on it alone, the cost of doing it alone can be very massive. Then you want to reinvent the wheel. What someone has done, you want to reproduce that. You're not creating value.
Considering the sustainable pipeline of the competitive and global markets, the panel discussion sought to project how wide the talent gap is, what sort of talents are required, how to bridge the gap, and the Japa effect on employees and the economy at large. Oluwakomo and Oluwadamilola Daudu provided further insights on the data management infrastructure, governance and compliance, as well as the assessment of the Fintech Week 2022.
Transactions go on every day. We have quite a number of products within the fintech space that is generating data on a daily basis. Every day, I transact, or I pay for Uber, I buy airtime, or even taking my card and using a POS device, or going to pay ATM machine to withdraw cash. All of that data needs to be harnessed, and for one reason only, so that I can build profiles around every individual. All those systems have KYC done. The identity system you have today is already interrelated. So my phone number is tied to my NIN is tied to my BVN, my NIN is tied to my passport. So everything is already interrelated and interconnected. That way we cannot say we don't actually identify individuals anymore. We know everybody that is involved in that ecosystem. We know what they all do in terms of transactions. We have enough data. So that data should serve as assets or collateral for what we need to do. So what I'm technically preaching is that let us take an individual, for example. We already have the identity, we already have the transactions also. Let's profile them and see this person does X amount in terms of transactions, is invested in this, he has done X, Y, Z. So all that information about that individual can actually serve as collateral to access loans. Because we actually have those information and also that I know this person earns this much in a year, X amount of money passes through his account on a yearly basis. If you factor a lot of things around his expensive kind of lifestyle that he lives, we can say he spends this amount of money on his lifestyle. He has this amount remaining as disposable income. This is what we can leverage. So actually, you guys have access to mortgages, to car loans, finance, even for business loans at a reduced interest rate, because we are sure that we know him, he's not going anywhere, and we are able to recover that money. So days of high interest rates should go away. And should be having a single digit interest on mortgages, on car loans, on business financing, especially at time investing or using that money for not frivolous activities like buying clothes. And so let us leverage that. Let us grow the economy. So with this, we mean that a lot of investors can come in. I can have investors coming in to say, I want to build an housing estate because I know that in 20 years, 30 years, I will recoup my funds. And businesses that are looking at the long term are not trying to look at the short term, just get my money and move away.
First thing is to continue to build trust in the payment and in the payment system, in the financial system. And the first foundation of that is the identity of the customer. Who is sending money and who is receiving. And that is why issues around KYC is very important in terms of the first foundation of data. We at OPE, we commend the federal government of Nigeria for the strong progress that has been made in terms of the national identity number. Today, according to the official information, there will be 90 million Nigerians with national identity, which is digital. It means that we have more opportunities to verify identity of more people, and more people can actually come into the financial system with a formal identity, because the first basic problem is if you want to have an account, who are you? Where are you located? and that becomes the first barrier. So that's the first foundation. And every other thing that is built in terms of cybersecurity is on the foundation of digital identity that can be verified formally and that can be traced. The other thing is to commend our fintech ecosystem to build other solutions on top of the national digital identity in terms of things like address verification. Now we know the person, we want to verify where do they live. So some other fintech system players may develop those solutions and we all benefit from it.